just to let chat know, I will towards the end. I will open it up if you guys want to ask Erica any questions. You can do that. I will not. I will be reading messages in chat, but I will probably not responding because I'm going to be giving this amazing person, Erica, my complete and utter full attention. So I'm going to be giving Erica my full attention. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
How is it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. I just I'm on seventh hour of playing Battletoads. Just
Ooh.
finger level for 7 hours and I still haven't beaten it. So that's the kind of day I'm having.
Oof. Isn't Battletoads like insanely difficult?
Yeah, it demands perfection. That's what I've been saying. But it's, unlike Echo, which I'm infamously was played a few weeks ago, Echo the Dolphin is poorly designed. And Battletoads is just it's so difficult because it demands like perfect key inputs on a number of levels that are like notoriously difficult. So, it's I'm not hating the game like I hated Echo the Dolphin, but it is a very, very difficult. It's the first time I've gotten this far in it ever in my life, so I'm just like going with it. So
She's a pro Battletoads player.
well, someone needs to pay me money to be playing Battletoads, but I guess my community does support me while I play games that seem to torture me.
Okay, so to get this started a bit, tell Chad a little bit about what type of content you produce.
Yeah, so my name's EricaNewGirl. I'm a queer trans woman, she, her pronouns, and my type of content, I famously say on my stream, we're lewd but not rude, and if you do things without consent, you will get booed. So we have a very mature stream. It's very 18 plus, very much talking about some pretty adult things. My sense of humor is kind of saying things that I will regret later. And we hopefully, when you come to my stream or see any of my other content, you'll have a good laugh. You will be. The comment I hear most is, Erica, you're ridiculous. And hopefully you can just have a good time. I also have a place where, if you didn't fit in before in life, if you couldn't find sort of your community, maybe my community is a place for you. It's a place where many different people, very, very different backgrounds from, whether gay, lesbian, trans, straight, cis, whatever. It's a place where we all like come together and try to support one another and lift each other up, because the world kind of sucks sometimes, and so being there for one another is like the best you can do sometimes. True, Shazzy. I do hear the comment, Erica, please. Erica, please. That is probably the most common comment I get after I say things. I wear that with a badge of honor.
I know the feeling of saying things you don't regret. I mean, I have a whole video of pretty much of me just doing exclusively that. So I think I can take a guess at what your least favorite game is. So what would you say your favorite game is?
My favorite game. I have a few different ones. I mean, if we're going like the totality of any of what I've ever played, I mean, Final Fantasy VII literally changed my life and my relationship to games. When I played Final Fantasy VII for the first time, it was like, wow, a game can tell that kind of emotional story that makes me, laugh and cry and everything in between. I will always have a special place in my heart for Final Fantasy VII. Of late, though, if we're talking about games that I just casually play, I play a lot of Rocket League off stream, but that's like more of my game. I have played it on stream, but it is more of like, this game is for me to chill out at the end of the night. This isn't a game that I care about streaming it and doing all that stuff. I have played it on my stream and other people's streams, but that is like sort of my sacred game. And also, I speedrun Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I'm currently 123rd in the world for that game. So that game also is a game that I truly love, and I love watching people play that game.
Erica's over here, expert Resident Evil speedrunner. Pro Erica.
It's funny, before I played Resident Evil 7 back in like April, I never played a single Resident Evil game ever, and now I've played most of them. I am trying to work through all of the main titles, but yeah, until I had played 7 before 8 came out, I was completely new to the franchise, and I absolutely love it now.
Phase, Erica.
Shazzy, I have a long way to go to be first place in Resident Evil 7. A long way to go.
Listen, what doesn't matter is how fast you go. All that matters is you don't stop going.
That's a true statement.
So, you might have already mentioned this, but let's go a little bit in depth about it. You know, it's sad. I can't say that word, so the fact that I managed to get it perfectly in the first try, I have to take a second to just like chef's kiss. But so what would you like to build your community around or be best known for on Twitch?
Yeah, I mean that's a question that I've pondered many an hour for the almost 2 years I've been a streamer. I really want to have a community that I want to be known for the fact that I will make people laugh and maybe also cry. Like, I'm a professionally trained clown, right? And most people think of clowns. Number one, you probably think most people say they're scared of clowns. But number two, the clown actually historically is not just someone who makes you laugh, but someone who can also make you cry. The idea of the clown, as I understand clown, is a personage that lives so vulnerably in front of an audience that you will both laugh and cry because you resonate so much with the ridiculousness of the human condition. And that's like what a good clown does. And I wanted to bring that to my streams. I want to be real like that. I want to be open and vulnerable to whatever degree I feel safe being that vulnerable, so that you can laugh, maybe cry, maybe feel more connected to other human beings, especially during this pandemic where, you know, social interaction comes at a premium right now. That's really, truly what I would love to be known for. But under all of that, like, deep thinking about it is ultimately like, I want to say lewd things that make people laugh, and, you know, hopefully you feel like less alone in the world.
That's an admirable goal. Saying lewd things to make people less lonely.
When you put it like that, I sound like a gosh darn poet.
Well, I mean, you kind of are. I mean, let's be honest. So,
Clown poet.
what are some goals or ambitions that you have for content creation?
Yeah, you know, it's like, it's multi-pronged. Whenever I sort of have this discussion about like what my goals are, like, there is the goal, the practical goal of, I want to be able to afford my rent and food. So like,
Yeah.
there's that goal financially, whatever I have to do to earn enough money from however many different revenue sources I have, so that I can keep doing this and have it be like a sustainable way of living my life. That's certainly one goal. Then there's the other goal of just bringing who I am to different platforms, whether that's Twitch or Twitter, or now I just started a podcast literally yesterday. Whatever those mediums are, I want to be able to grow a reputation that, like, when you're around an Erica, whether that's visiting my stream or we're working together, collaborating as co-content creators, I want you to feel safe. I want you to feel like you can trust me. I want you to feel like this is somebody who has been through some things, and just like I have been through some things, and maybe we can like just hold space for each other in a way that, you know, for 4 to 5 hours a day, whenever I'm streaming, this is a place where some magical stuff can happen that may produce laughter, may produce catharsis, it may produce some really good content that I could put on my TikTok that hopefully other people can then consume and be like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. You know, I want to be able to grow my platform as well, so that I can do good things with my platform. For example, the last 2 years I've done the Game On to End Lupus campaign. So my first year of streaming, I did some fundraising, managed to raise about $1,000 in 2020, and now in 2021 my community has risen just over $5,000. So like, the more I build my community, the more we can do awesome things as a community like that. We raised almost $2,500 for Trans Lifeline back in February, For GoTel Game On, we raised just under $3,000. So like, you know, my platform is starting to do things, really good things, contributing good things to this world, on top of making people laugh and being ridiculous. So those are like all of the goals kind of wrapped into a little package there.
Yeah. And Game On's definitely got a lot of great streamers, you know, championing the cause. You, D, Coco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I met D through the first Game On and Lupus. I knew Coco beforehand, and then I did it. And my first raid during Game On and Lupus came from 8-Bit D, and that's where our friendship started. Was that weekend, like a year and a half ago, whatever it was.
So this next question, since this probably has your name in it, this might be a little bit more personal. If you're not comfortable answering, that's perfectly okay. But so where did your name come from for Twitch? Where did you think of it? And
yeah, it's a pretty literal name because I am trans and I transitioned about 4 years ago now. I had created an Instagram for myself to sort of document my transition as I was starting hormones and coming out to people. I didn't want to just use my old Instagram account, and so I made an Instagram called EricaNewGirl, which I was just like, this is fine for now. It was like right after I decided Erica was going to be my name. And then my best friend growing up started streaming on Twitch, and he was like, oh, you should come. He's a speedrunner for X-Men 1 and 2 for Sega. And he's like, you should come watch me speedrun on this. I never heard of Twitch. And so I made an account. And since I just made the Instagram account, I was like, well, I'll just go with EricaNewGirl as well. And that's literally just was what I chose because of that reason.
pretty fair, pretty straightforward. Now, you said something, and I just had to do a double take. There are X-Men games.
Oh yeah, X-Men 1 and there are several X-Men games, but X-Men 1 and 2 for Sega Genesis. My friend, he used to be world record holder for X-Men 1. He hasn't played it for a long time, but he is the legit #1 expert in the world for X-Men 2. He holds the world record for that game so tightly. There's nobody really close, and he is the first foremost expert on X-Men 2, Attack of the Clones for Sega Genesis.
I was like, wait. Fancy. So you've already mentioned a few of them, but what all other platforms can you be found on? And on each platform, do you have like a little bit of a what kind of content you produce for it?
Yeah, so I am EricaNewGirl pretty much anywhere and everywhere that I exist. On Instagram, it's, you know, selfies, but also some of my artwork that I do. I do like get commissions here and there for doing portraits and stuff. I do digital artwork. On Twitter, that's like that's me just posting my thoughts and also like updates on my stream and stuff like that. I do have a TikTok. I've been kind of less active on it lately, but that's a lot of my clips from my stream usually, and then maybe a few videos of me talking about certain stuff. And then I just recently, as in just yesterday, started a podcast called The Scorpio's Den, which you can find both on Twitter, like The Scorpio's Den, one word, and on Podbean and Spotify. It just literally this morning got active on Spotify. So you can, like, if you go to your Spotify and search The Scorpio's Den, and it should pop up there now. And that's a podcast where one of the things I'm most well known for in my community is one of my channel point redemptions is story time, where I tell some of the wildest stories that I've experienced in my life. And everyone's like, Erica, you really need to start a podcast. And so that's what the podcast is. It's me telling stories about my life that are just, you know, wild experiences that I've had.
Everyone loves a wild experience podcast. Honestly, those are like some of my favorite. I think you're missing something.
Oh, gosh.
D20.
Oh,
Explainer. D&D.
Yes, also, gosh, I've done so many things. I almost forgot one. I'm also on Transplanar RPG, which is an all-queer, all-trans, person-of-color-led D&D 5th edition actual play set in a homebrewed world of Endake, which is anti-colonialist and anti-orientalist in nature. What does that mean? It means it's D&D set in a world that's not like what you've seen before. It really is like we're just moving away from that sort of like Eurocentric style of fantasy and moving it into other flavors, Asian flavors, African flavors, Polynesian. Like there's so many different
Yeah.
other flavors that we're exploring. I play V Nox Scherzo, an elf sorceress with draconic ancestry who is the physical embodiment of the love shack for two gods that are living inside of her called Scott and Nectus. And she's got abandonment issues. Her dragon daddy, we're bringing back dragon daddy. Her dragon daddy was been gone for her entire life, and she's got trust issues because of it. So yeah, it's our characters are raw and gritty, and they've got a lot to work on. It's a lot of internal drama mixed with the external adventure that exists in D&D. So you can find that at Transplanar RPG. We stream 3 p.m. Central on Saturdays here on Twitch. But you can also find podcasts and stuff of them on any platform, and they're on Twitter as well, and all that. So yeah.
This next one's going off script. Your favorite D&D class and why?
Oh, so this character, V Nox Scherzo, that I play is only my third character I've ever made. So I've played a paladin, a monk, and now a sorcerer. The monk, though, I only got to do like one session of. But I did play a monk for a one shot recently for something else. That being said, playing paladin is really nice because you get the tank action, but you also get magic. I think because my paladin was my first character ever, I think it was a good introduction to a lot of all the mechanics of magic and physical attack. But I also am having a blast. My sorcerer is actually a rogue that I looked at the mechanics of rogue and I'm like, not quite the flavor I want. So I play a sorcerer like a rogue. That's like the best way of describing V from a mechanical point of view. Most of my spells are used to rip people off.
Fair. But I think my first character was actually a paladin as well. And I've only played 3 characters, but I've got like 20 or so. I have an addiction with making characters. Because what I'll do is I'll go on Heroforge, the mini builder site, and I'll build up a character and make it look cool. And then I'm like, oh shit, this looks cool. I want to play this. And then I'll make a character for it. I'm like,
that's kind of actually what happened with V. Is I went to Heroforge and made this mini, and I was like, yes, this is what I want. And then it was just a matter of like filling in the details for what I wanted mechanically.
And I have a problem. I've got 4 paladins, a sorcerer, a warlock, 2 barbarians, a wizard, a druid, a lot of other stuff. I have a problem. I have a lot of paladins. I like paladins.
They are a great class. My paladin took an oath of vengeance because her lesbian lover was murdered when they were teenagers.
Oath of vengeance is fun.
Yes, it is. It's basically you have to commit to taking revenge every time you can. I love it.
So getting back on the rails a bit, what advice, if you have any, would you say you'd have for like newer streamers or content creators? And this could be anything from like technical advice to like mindset, or just pretty much just any kind of advice that you would think someone new could use and benefit from.
Yeah. It kind of depends. I would like if I was having a conversation with someone, I want someone. So I think this is the first piece of advice. Be really clear about why you're streaming. Is it purely you just want to be able to stream and maybe have your friends come, and you're not interested in growth and you're not interested in like building this huge brand of a stream? If that's all you want, like that's cool and that's completely valid. But if you also are then concerned about growth and the quality of your stream and you want to get better as a streamer, then I have some other sets of recommendations, which number one, audio comes first. And a lot of streamers will tell you this because a lot of people lurk your stream and they're listening. They aren't actually watching. So investing in a better microphone is better than a better webcam, for example. This webcam is ridiculously expensive. There's no reason why anybody, if you're casually streaming, needs this camera, okay? It's nice, it looks good, but you don't need it unless you're making a commitment like, okay, I'm doing this for real. And even then, I would say focus on this last. Good lighting makes better difference than a high quality webcam as well. Get better lighting and your picture will improve dramatically with the same webcam. I actually for a long time had like a $30 webcam from Walmart that was amazing actually. That once I got good lighting, it was fine for a long time. So there's like those like hardware issues. Focus on making good audio first, and then there's like finding like what to stream is the bane of every streamer's existence.
Hard agree.
If you are interested in growth, the struggle is always you have to find a game with a healthy directory. Now, by that, I mean, like, if you click on, like, the just chatting or whatever game they're playing and it takes you to the directory of all the streamers playing that game, you don't want to be, like, the first person at the top of the list. You don't want to be the only person streaming that game. But also, if you're buried under pages upon pages of other streamers, no one's going to find you there either. So finding the games where you might be, like, second or third row from the top, but there's still, like, people way above you, that's great. That's what I found with Resident Evil 7 when I first played the game. All the hype for Resident Evil 7 made the directory explode for a little bit, and I actually saw the benefits of that. My view count, which, you know, when I'm streaming, I don't want to know my view count, but yeah, I care about my view count after the fact, exploded from the directory just simply being the thing. That being said, if you're only playing a game for that type of stuff, you're going to feel it. The audience, the viewers are going to feel it. If you're not genuinely into the game somehow, like, people are going to realize it and it's not going to feel good. And then there's also games that I love, but when I stream it, it's not as entertaining for whatever reason. Like, I don't even feel good streaming it. So it's like this battle, like, is it a game that has a healthy directory? Is it a game that I'm enjoying? Or in the case of Echo, I hate it so much that people love it. And is it a game that when I stream it, it creates this really nice energy with the viewership and myself that, like, Echo was a perfect example. Yes, I hated every second of playing that game. However, I had a blast playing that game with my community. There are so many clips and memes and you know, I have a dolphin emote now. I'm getting a dolphin tattoo because of my community's generosity in a few weeks. There's all this wild energy that came from playing those games. And yeah, I hated it. I hated the game, but the journey of playing it with my community was something I will never forget, which is actually why I don't care about, like, it's not like, oh God, I have to get a tattoo. This game kind of changed something for me in my stream. I don't mind honoring that with this tattoo. Plus, it's going to be a dolphin in BDSM gear, so that's like on brand anyway.
That's a picture I never in my life, almost 22 years of existence, never thought I'd have the picture of a BDSM clad dolphin in my head. Yeah. Thanks to you, I do.
And actually, Katz is reminding me as well. Networking is, if you're looking for growth, networking. And just when you think you've networked enough, network some more. Meet new streamers. When you're on raids, get to know the streamer that you're raiding into. Just like check out, if you're playing a certain game for a while, like, check out that directory. Find other people streaming that directory. Go make friends with them. And I'm not saying like don't go to streams and try to like you're not doing follow for follow. You're not doing like, I'll check out your stream if you come check out mine. You're not doing that. You're going to genuinely try to find some new friends. And yeah, you can't be like besties with everybody. That can be very overwhelming, but to simply like show up a little bit regularly, make sure you say hello and like get to genuinely know the people in the community, because if you're just there to try to get people to follow you, people can sniff that out. But just genuinely be there and be interested in other people and you know, maybe say some things that make people laugh in the chat or something, or, you know, whatever. Be memorable in other people's chats and make what it is really contribute to their vibes that you see them trying to do. If you can help their stream be a more fun place, they're going to remember it and they're going to probably come check you out, as opposed to if you're just there kind of just with an ulterior motive of like trying to get them to come check you out. that's probably not going to work out
Yeah,
well
no,
for you.
it's kind of dirty.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I can't lurk in someone's chat for a week and then just spam the going live in Discord and not become ninja?
What? How dare? How dare? It doesn't work like that.
False advertising. The only addendum I'd have is if you're like directories is the one thing that like I struggle with. It's like there are some games where you can be the only person streaming them because if like there are some like kind of cult classic games where they have a lot of people like following the category, so you get recommended to them and they're like, and that's how you get them. Like Dragon's Dogma for me was like that. Dark Souls, it's a lot of the more like cult classic games, but so you can still kind of get away with that, but for the most part you definitely don't want to bank on that.
Right. And it's one of those things like there are exceptions to every rule, but the exceptions kind of prove the rule kind of situation where like just chatting, for example, is a category that like people like to scroll that directory and just take chances. Same with retro, the retro category. People are willing to take chances and like scroll down a few pages. And yeah, I've had the same experience where sometimes I am like, I like to joke that I'm the #1 solitaire streamer because sometimes because I get chronic joint pain and if my joints have been really bad, I just will like play solitaire or just have solitaire up. And I've like, been the only person in the directory. So obviously I'm the #1 solitaire player on Twitch. I'm putting that in my credentials. So yeah, there are definitely exceptions. And sometimes I have had, trying to think, Dead Space is a good example. When I played Dead Space, there weren't many people in the directory at the time I was playing it, but there were a lot of people who came in to check it out because they love Dead Space so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do have some titles like that, but it's definitely it's more difficult to like rely on that strategy for sure.
Stuff like Dead Space, Dark Souls, like Ori, kind of like the more like the cult classics, definitely. I think retro's one that it's definitely promising because like retro is like it's not a specific game, so it's like you could click on someone's playing Mario Maker or something like that, and then someone's playing Battletoads or Echo, and so I think a lot of that is like people are willing to take a chance on that because like it's like walking into Baskin Robbins, it's one place, but you've got the entire counters worth.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like when you're in just chatting long enough, sometimes that brings out some trolls and some like nasty stuff. I have found genuinely the retro community has been a very kind, supportive community. I mean, they've got like, I'm playing on an emulator for Battletoads. Don't tell anyone, but I know like there's some retro people are like, boo, but I'm like, I don't have any of the gear. I don't have access to gear. I'm not going to pay like hundreds of dollars for old gear that or old carts to play stuff on.
Yeah.
But I've had very good experience in the last month playing in retro for sure.
Don't tell anyone what? I don't know what you don't want anyone to tell.
Yeah, I can't even remember what we were talking about. Next question.
So, let's see. So, tell us a bit about your schedule and what it entails.
On my channel, I stream Monday, Thursday, Fridays from 2:30 p.m. Central until. I used to stream like longer streams, but now I've only been able to do like 5, maybe 6 hours. So 2:30 to like 7:30, 8:30 is usually about so. And then once in a while, I do surprise streams here and there. So, but that's my primary schedule. And then on Saturdays, I have the stream with Transplanar. So I do stream 4 days a week. It's just only 3 of them are on my channel.
Yeah, I only go like 3 hours, but I make up for that by going 4 days. So definitely. Back when I started, I streamed every day. I would go from like 1 or 2 a.m. to like 8 a.m. just because that was my work schedule. Like I worked at Pizza Hut. I was a manager. We'd close the store. Half the time wouldn't get out till like 11 or 12. I'd go home around 1 o'clock. I would stream. Go to bed at 8 a.m. because I didn't have to be there until 4:30. I'd go to bed at 8 a.m. Sleep until 3:30 p.m. because I also lived like 5 minutes away from the store. Get up, get ready, and go to work. And I just do that, repeat every day. And it was miserable.
Yeah, I used to stream more when I went full time. at the beginning of this year, and it just got to a point where I'm like, I don't think from a revenue standpoint or anything, doing 4 days a week plus the fifth stream with Transplaner, I don't think it was giving me a whole lot of anything. It wasn't building my audience. It wasn't giving me more revenue. It just like, and I found going down to 3 days has been like just as supportive. And then when I do choose to do a bonus stream, I've found like there's a lot of hype around it, and people like tend to come out more for that fourth stream when I do it. So
Yeah. You're not as exciting when they can get you every day, but when they can get you on a day you're not supposed to be, exciting.
Right, exactly.
So, what is something you wish you knew before you started streaming that you know now?
All of that streamer advice about like hardware and everything else, definitely I wish I would have known sooner. So when I started streaming, I started actually as an art streamer for the first 5 to 6 months. I purely streamed art, and I saw like very little growth. I had growth, and that was mostly off of my networking skills, but it was really difficult. And then I did that GoTail, and I was getting rated a lot by the GoTail community, and it was great. And that was like my first taste of like, oh my god, like this is something I really enjoy doing. I love like getting these big audiences and entertaining them. And it wasn't about the art during that. It was like just me being entertaining. And that was like a big shift for me. And then like I had this like hangover period of like where my view count went back to like 2 to 3 viewers a stream. And I was just like, and then when I got to July and it was still like that, and it was worse than June, my viewer count and my analytics on every possible analytic, I was like, I've got to change. I wanted growth. That's when I realized like, I want growth. What do I have to do for growth? And that's when I started like, I just built this PC, so I was able to play games now.
Yeah.
And I went to horror first. I became a horror streamer. I started with Alien Isolation, and then Outlast, and then the early access version of Visage. And I just played like all horror. When I started, I hated horror. I hate horror movies and games and everything. But from playing horror video games, I suddenly found myself enjoying horror more. And actually, my community kind of like, I kind of like stopped getting scared of horror games after playing them so much. And that's simultaneously both something some of my viewership likes and some of them dislike. Is like, there's people who like, I hate watching horror, but I like watching you play horror because you're not getting scared so much. And in fact, like with Resident Evil 7, which I played hundreds of times now, I am making fun of it. I am rewriting the story to be like, it's just an elaborate BDSM kink getaway between Mia and Ethan. That's all Resident Evil 7 is, a very elaborate kink getaway. And so people like find it hilarious, and I'm able to meme because I know the game so well. And luckily that game has a lot of animation breaks that I can't skip, where I can just meme the crap out of it as I'm doing it. So yeah, I wish I could go back to like me starting before that and like maybe have some of these conversations. But I also do think I needed that time to just try stuff. I think every new streamer, like for everything I say about directory and everything, I think if you're brand new, just spend a little bit of time just doing it, because there's skills you have to learn about handling OBS, responding to chat, being able to handle a game and chat simultaneously. That's a skill.
Definitely.
It's really hard to balance all of the things together that streaming entails. I would also like I would warn myself of, I guess, self-care ultimately, that as this past year being full-time streamer, there's been a lot of difficulties in it. Like, you're balancing personalities within your community or other communities. It can feel a little bit lonely at times sometimes, like because you're always also comparing yourself to each other, even your best of friends, and it can feel really lonely.
Yeah.
So learning how to take care of yourself within that space, and like finding the group of people in your life that you can cling to no matter what, whether that's other streamers or my mod team, I rely on a lot to like vent or bounce ideas off of, or just be like, hey, can we just like play games in our mod chat and just like not about anything right now? And I have community members like that too, and I've got other friends that can do that too. But I feel like this full year of being a full-time streamer, I've had to learn how to like have that little space that is, the walls are a little bit higher than maybe everybody else, and these are the people in that wall that like I really can trust with like anything to get through this, because it can be very difficult and lonely otherwise.
Yeah, definitely can. You don't need to attack me there, okay? I know. So let's see. So what kind of started you on streaming and content creation, like as a whole? I remember you mentioning one of your driving factors was your friend who speedran XMen. Is there anything else that kind of brought you in, or?
When I got on Twitch to simply follow my friend, I wasn't exploring Twitch for other streamers or anything. There's one trans woman who I knew from social media who like I kind of looked up to her a lot. Who I found out she was a streamer, so like I followed her stream and became a moderator for her after a while. And so I just had these two communities for almost the entire first year. But the end of 2019, my friend, he raided Coco Confession, and that like blew my mind, because Coco is such a fantastic streamer. She's got this amazing welcoming community that the little bit of exploring on Twitch I did, I was like afraid to admit I was trans, but in her space, I actually felt pretty safe early on to be like, oh yeah, I'm a trans woman. And to admit that publicly. Like, it was nice at first to be able to hide in the anonymity of Twitch to like not divulge to them trans, but her supportive, wonderful community and seeing what she was doing. She had just done a fundraiser for Lupus Foundation of America, not as Game On and Lupus, but just independently. And I remember her second stream I caught was her having to wear all pink, and she's like emo galore. So she had to do an all pink stream, and it was hilarious. And I hit subscribe like within 5 minutes of that stream, and I haven't looked back since. But seeing what she was doing with community building and supporting others and everything was like, you know what? I kind of want to try that. So I met her in December, and by near the end of January, I did my first stream. But Coco's been a huge inspiration, and also like then COVID started happening, and what became just a casual streaming here and there, doing art. I'm a theater performer. I'm a theater actor, director, writer. Sometimes I've even done design work in theater, but I'm very performative. And so there was also, once COVID hit and the theater group I was with, we had to like kind of take a break from being in-person rehearsals. Suddenly I just had this like performative energy that I had no outlet for. And that then was like, streaming is a channel for that as well, where I get to do a lot of the performance type stuff. I get to be a clown on stream for a few hours every day. So that was the other big influence and stuff. And then that first game on End Lupus was like the first, like, okay, yes, this is something I want to start pursuing, like really hardcore. I want to learn how to do this better.
This next question, I want you to be as cocky as possible. Just brag. What sets you apart from all the other thousands, millions practically content creators? What makes you the best on Twitch?
I'm probably the only content creator who has a bounty out there for her community that if we reach a certain financial goal, I will dress in a dolphin onesie in a kiddie pool that is full of veterinarian lubricant. That is what sets me apart from everybody else. I feel like that's a good metaphor in general. I will do anything if the price is right.
It's like that one phrase, like, I'm not blank, but $20 is $20. Pretty much, like.
It's pretty much, you want me to dance? Pay up and I'll dance for you. So definitely. And also just like, I bring a lot of different perspectives. I mean, the sort of the queer influence, the trans influence, but I also bring an influence from the clowning and theater, and Also, I was like kind of a punk rocker growing up, so like I have that like screw you authority figures type. You know,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that boil around in me. I'm also sober for 10 years, and that's very present in my stream. I'm very open about my sobriety and mental health, and willing to have like intimate conversations about what I've been through and what I'm currently going through. So it's like it's just this is a swirling of a lot of different flavors that I think in the end makes an Erica that I that's what keeps me apart. It's just like I'm an Erica. There's no other Erica like me. So that's my stream.
That there is certainly no other Erica like you, and we're thankful for that. So this is the last question I have for you from me, and that's, do you have any questions or observations directed towards me, anything you'd like to know about me, before I open it up and let the chat invade your privacy a little bit?
You know, I don't even think I know a lot of the specifics about like how long have you been a streamer for?
I have been a streamer since sometime in March 2016.
Wow.
So
Okay.
March 2016, I went for about 8 or 9 months. Then my uncle was diagnosed with brain cancer, and they said that he would not last for my graduation because I was a senior in high school.
Mm.
I started when I was a junior. I stopped around when I was a senior. And so I stopped, I took a break, had a major depressive episode, and actually thought about committing suicide. And then, so about a year and a half goes by. He managed to make it to my graduation and stick around for a year and a half when they said he didn't even have 6 months. And then he passed away April 3rd. And right around April 5th, I decided to start streaming again.
Mm.
I don't really know what pushed me to, and so I've been streaming ever since then. And so every year on the 5th, or right around the 5th, I try to do that. Work changes it. I do a 12-hour stream for Play to Beat Brain Cancer. So I have been streaming since 2016. I do take off like a year and a half of that though, because I wasn't streaming during that time. So I've been around for just a little bit.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you know, I've 3 out of my 4 grandparents died to cancer. So like, number one, cancer sucks, blows. But yeah, that's quite a story. And I didn't know because I think I've seen you do charity work around that before, but I don't think I've heard like the personal connection to why
Yeah.
you do that charity. So
March
good work.
2nd, 2016 was when my account was created. So
Wow.
a little bit of an old fart when it comes to Twitch.
You've seen it in all of its glory from you saw it pre hot tub
Glory.
streamer day. Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. That's Twitch still for me feels so new, and so it's incredible to like meet people who've been around for so very very long, and seeing it go through so many changes. What for you has been the best change about Twitch in that time? Like, what part of growth of Twitch in that time have you been most excited about?
Honestly, when they recently added all the new tags, because they added autism tags, which they didn't have before, and that was right around when I started deciding to be more open about the fact that I have autism, because it's something I never really talked about, because when you struggle to make friends because of it, you kind of don't want to talk about it because people will make fun of you for it. So for the longest time, most of my closest friends didn't even know because I just wouldn't say anything. But they, right around the time I decided to be open, it was kind of very much I was thinking about being more open about it because, kind of a major part of my personality. And then they were like, "Hey, we have these new tags," and so that's when I decided to be open. But that's honestly when they added this tags was the one thing I was most excited about.
Yeah, that was a hard fought fight, and looking at the analytics, it's very apparent that streaming as a transgender tag on makes a difference. I've had a lot of trans folks find me because of that tag. So, for the crap of trolling that it brings, it also brings a lot of great awareness and community together. So it's been, yeah, I agree that's been a highlight since I've been on this platform too. Well, let's see. I think I have to know, how long have you known the 8-bit D, which we only refer to as 8-bit D, because
Yeah.
you've been such a wonderful supporter in her community for such as long as I've been there. So
I've met Dee about. So I met her through Otter. It was about 3 or 4 months before she tried to transition to Mixer.
okay,
And so I've known her about 2 years now. I know at least I've been sub to her about that long. So
yeah,
somewhere right around in the 2.5 year mark, 'cause I knew her. I met pretty much everyone on Twitch for the most part through Otter in some way.
okay, nice. And thanks to mischief managers and Otter and Wingles, it's I've definitely met a lot of people probably in the chat right now who through that community.
Yeah, I met Otter was actually the first Twitch chat I went into when I got back on Twitch after my uncle. I actually have a funny story. Tank ended up yeeting me from Otter's chat the first time because she was playing Borderlands 2, Tiny Tina and the Assault on Dragon Keep, one of the DLC. And I had just gotten through it and I had been excited about talking about it, and I didn't stop to think that she hadn't finished it yet. And so I made the comment about and accidentally like spoiled it a bit, and then Tank like yeeted me out of there, and I was like, oh shit, oops.
Yeah.
And then I followed it. I was like, I've practically been stuck to Otter's hip stance for the past almost 3 years now at this point.
Oh, that's. How did you
So-
find Otter? Because
I had gotten through the time. I'd gotten through Borderlands 2, and I wanted to find more people playing Borderlands 2, specifically Krieg the Psycho, because that was who I was playing. And Otter was playing it with Box of Eels, and Box of Eels was playing Krieg the Psycho. So that's what drew me in.
Oh, cool.
And then Otter just, now I'm stuck. I can't leave now. We have a running joke that she has me tied to her water heater.
Fair. I mean, that's hopefully she just gives you a little bit of food every once in a while too.
A couple crumbs.
Perfect. That's all one needs.
Yeah, it's just a few crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
I get a gummy bear if I'm good.
Dang, that's nice. I wish I had a gummy bear. I haven't had gummy bears in forever.
Gummy worms sound pretty good.
Oh, my grandpa used to get me. I was never in short supply of gummy worms from my grandfather when I was little. What kind of gummy bear, Shazzy?
Are there other kinds of gummy bears?
I mean, there's like the special kind of gummy bears that provide a certain level of relaxation for certain individuals. There are actually apparently some European friends have some type of, they're called like wine gums, that they're gummy bears, but they just have a different consistency from the normal kind of like American gummy bears.
Sugar-free kind?
Sugar-free. What, you don't love the sugar-free kind?
No, I am a sugar fiend.
The Sour Patch gummy bears, that's
I don't mind the Sour Patch, but
fair. I think probably I do love some Sour Patch Kids when in moderation. I can't have them all the time, but when I haven't had them for a while and then I have them, so good. So interesting to me. That just brings up this strong memory of me and my friend who got me on Twitch. The last time that we played Final Fantasy VII, we did a playthrough together. Our senior year of high school, and we still had VHSs because I'm kind of getting on the older side, and we actually recorded it on VHS tapes the entire playthrough during Christmas vacation. And then when during Christmas break, our first year at college, we sat down and watched all of it, fast forwarding through like the boring, just like running through the world or doing grinding work or whatever. But just like the improvement of technology from like 2004 to now, to like YouTube really wasn't yet a thing, or is just becoming a thing at that time, and all this type of stuff. So to hear like your story and be like, man, that sounds like something I would have done if I had been just a few years younger, probably.
Yeah, it was. The YouTube channel is probably still around, and it is cringe. Like Let me see. I'm gonna double check. So I'm just, don't mind me, just gonna flash so everyone knows my stream plan. The secret is out. I want to check real quick, see if it's still around. And if it is, I'm probably gonna die of embarrassment.
I mean, that's what we live for.
Okay, so it's a good thing that so far all that's coming up is my current YouTube. Thank God. Oh, thank God. It's not still around. I think I deactivated it. Thank God. I would have actually perished right here, right now, if it was.
Well, we'll just have to find one of those like sites that you know, stores, archives, old versions of websites, and
Oh
maybe we can
God.
find some of your content in the deep dive there of the archives.
It was bad.
That's all right. What do you want to get out of your stream and your content and your platform? What are your goals?
I think some of my goals are because I have autism and have such a struggle making friends, and because the nature of the autism spectrum makes it kind of a little more difficult because, you know, everyone is a little bit different. But I think my goal is I want to make my stream like a place that is more open and friendly and more accepting of people on the autism spectrum. And there are a lot of misconceptions about autism that I hear constantly from people who think they know everything about autism because their mother's second cousin has a son with autism or whatever.
Right.
Fun fact, it actually gets clinically diagnosed more in boys than in girls.
Yeah. That's a great goal. I mean, as someone who's like sober and like wants a community where like sober people can feel safe, or trans community can feel safe, or queer, any member of the LGBT community can feel safe, I totally resonate that. And you know, we need that. I feel like this isn't necessarily related specifically to streaming, but this is probably more like for my sober journey, is like I want to be a beacon so that if anybody ever deals with a problem with drugs and alcohol, for example, they remember, oh, my friend Erica got sober. I can reach out to her. And that happens like once or twice a year. People will reach out to me in a DM that I've maybe haven't talked to for many years. And they'll be like, hey, like I'm really struggling. What do I have to do? And for me, that's like such a gift to be able to help someone. And I can't help someone like get sober. All I can do is point them to doorways that they themselves have to walk through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got sober because of my work that I did on myself, not because of what anyone did. That being said, there were some very important people in my life who helped me, but ultimately, people can't get sober unless they do it themselves. And so, again, if I can just be a beacon that, like, if someone's ready for that journey, they can come to me to be like shown the different pathways maybe to living life differently than what they're used to. Great. I love that. And I take that into my stream on a sort of like backseat kind of way. Like, yeah, there's this element too where I just want to be a shining light that maybe attracts people when they need it in their life. So
you don't want to make the horse drink, but you want to show them why they should and what can come of it, basically. If we're using the
my favorite analogy, actually, I learned from a friend of mine in sobriety. He was like, imagine if your house is on fire and you see the person with a fire hose trying to put their house out, but what they don't understand because of their addiction is that the water hose is actually spewing gasoline and they're only making it worse. And they're not going to believe you when you say, put that down. Let's go sit down over here. And here's a piece of paper and a pencil. And this is going to put your house out. Because what you're doing is only making it worse. There's a certain kind of magic in that where people like, all you can do is ask someone to make a leap of faith that by every rational, logical perspective shouldn't be the way that you need to go. It requires, taking a leap of faith to give in to something else that you're not used to make like things like sobriety work, or even like being trans. My conversations with folks who are like exploring gender or maybe have some questions. It takes some leaps at some point of being like, well, why don't you try, I don't know, having different pronouns? Ask your friends to refer to you as they, them, or she, her, or he, him, depending on what route you're kind of feeling for gender. And like, it's scary, sure, but like for me, the first time people referred to me as Erica, it made my heart ring. The first time people started using she, her for me regularly, like it felt so right that like once people were doing it, I was like, I'm never going back. This is like, I'm trans. Yep. I struggled for years with the decision. And once people were actually doing it, once I took that leap of faith, it felt so right. And like, yep, this is the route I need to go. So, I mean, that applies to just everything too. And I think even like, I mean, I don't want to speak for folks with autism, but again, just like in my situation, even mental health, sometimes like as someone who's being that beacon, all you can do is ask them to take that leap of faith to that maybe there's a better way to live their life through like just learning some more about something they may or may not have. Who knows? Maybe just going to the doctor and asking the question, hey, can I get tested for this? Or whatever that leap of faith might be for that person.
Do you have any other questions for me before I open it up and let chat ask you some, or you think you're ready for the invasion of privacy?
You know me, I like to be invaded. If people have questions, we can move to questions from the peanut gallery, so to speak.
Okay, you heard her here, folks. Oh god. Oh, my hip just popped.
I think I could hear that pop. I think I heard that pop.
Yeah, we have a running joke that when I stand up, my knee will pop occasionally, and it pops incredibly loud, and it sounds like it's exploding.
Oof.
So, in health class one day, my best friend, one day he heard it pop, and he was like, "Oh my god, did your knee just explode?" And so, we made a running joke that every time it popped, he has to duck to dodge the knee shrapnel, because it sounds like it's straight exploding.
My knees hurt just hearing that, like, that's how bad of a pop it is. Oof.
So would you rather fight 100 horse-sized toads or 100 horse-sized dolphins?
Cats, you troll. Let's see. Horse-sized toads sounds unbelievably scary to me. I think I would take the horse-sized dolphins because they're limited to water, so I feel like I could rally them in a way that may or may not be beneficial to my strategy.
Sorry about that. So what was this about Neil Patrick Harris being in your backseat?
Wow, Blue Queen. So this is actually my third episode of my podcast coming out, so this will be a little bit down the road. I am going to tell the story about the time. I'll give you, this will be like my little teaser pitch. So there I was, just a few months living in Los Angeles. I was newly divorced, newly sober, and I'm going to say this in like the most vague way possible. So I'm sitting on a city bus, and the doors open, and in walks Neil Patrick Harris, sits down next to me, and this is the beginning of the evening of a journey that involves going to a hotel. It involves driving my car, he in the back seat, me driving. He's wearing a mask. To sitting next to each other in sort of like this studio village for a movie set where we're watching a scene happen in front of us, and I'm literally right next to him, and ending the night in a bar sitting around chatting with each other. This was my welcome to Los Angeles moment. And for further details, you're going to have to go find the Scorpio's Den when episode 3 releases, where I'll tell you the full story of how and why all of that came to be and what that was all about.
I'm in the middle of taking a drink, and I just look and I read Neil Patrick Harris being in your back seat, and I about died. I'm curious, so I'll have to take that a listen.
I was dying when I looked in my rearview mirror and see his face in the back seat of my car.
So Shazzy asks, how much would it cost us to get you to run a dolphin farm in Minecraft?
I hate Minecraft, but my community loves to make me play Minecraft. I don't hate Minecraft as bad as Echo the Dolphin. So this is me thinking out loud of like financially what this would cost. It would probably be I don't know, I'd probably make it a goal of like $200 maybe to make like some type of dolphin aquarium. That was going, if we ever reached the kiddie pool goal, that actually was part and parcel of the kiddie pool goal. The kiddie pool goal, though, is closing at the end of the month. If we don't reach it, there's going to be no kiddie pool with Erica in a dolphin onesie in veterinarian lubricant. But the goal was part of that was I would then play Minecraft while in that kiddie pool and make a dolphin aquarium. So technically, there's like $200 roughly, just under $200. No, wait. No, $240 because it's $240 left of that goal. So that's how much, Shazzy. That's how much.
Ooh, this is a good one. So, what can Twitch do in order to better help marginalized streamers?
I mean, I don't want any like white straight cis dudes to take offense to this, but really, like, it would be great if I go on the front page of Twitch and it's like not all white guys. That would be great. Maybe feature marginalized identities more than just when their month of awareness comes up. Same with trans folks. Like during Pride Month, there was like this Twitch Pride stream team. I remember Coco got on it, and I knew some other streamers who were on it who were, somewhere in the umbrella. But like literally out of like 50 to 100 people, there were 2 trans women. There were a few other like non-binary folks, maybe some trans men. But like to have 2 trans women who are literally, particularly trans women of color, are one of the like most abused demographics in the marginalized community. Trans women of color are just utterly treated like crap by society. These are the people, these are the voices that should be like front and center when promoting, marginalized creators. We just need more of like people who aren't just like Ninja, or thank goodness like Dr. Lupo left, because now that fills a gap. Well, who are we going to have on the front page now? We just need, every time Twitch thinks they're doing enough, someone in the room beats like, no, we need to do more. And I think also, the big debate these last few months have been having tools to protect marginalized identities, because like this year's been brutal for Black History Month. Many of the Black content creators who were featured for Black History Month on the front page were brutally attacked, doxxed, their personal information hacked, so on and so forth. There's literally so many ways that, and some of that Twitch can't help people being hacked somewhere off the site, but there's got to be ways to protect information and protect our content creators a little bit better. And I think they released some interesting tools. I think needing a phone or email verification for an account to follow my stream is definitely a step in the right direction. But you would hope with all the things that like, it shouldn't fall on independent creators to create things like Siri bot, or like I use this bot called Maiden bot that my friend literally wrote completely herself, that does an excellent job of protecting my stream. We shouldn't need independent people making these tools for streamers. This should be things that like Twitch should be interested in solving these problems. I think doing that will come a long way, or at least take these people who are doing these things and like hire them, pay them money for their services, because they just provided you a tool for your content creators to use that will hopefully protect them more. But yeah, I just want more variety. I want to see more different faces being promoted by Twitch at all times.
And before all the 13-year-olds go,
But Pokemon's a popular streamer. You have your diversity.
because everyone says it every time it's brought up.
Right. And then you look where Pokimane is. Like, the funny thing is that, that hack that happened a few weeks ago, that released financial information, which I feel crummy that that information gets released. However, that information only proved what a website like Twitch Tracker, which has been accessible for a very long time. If you want to know the stats of like the top 100 streamers, just go to Twitch Tracker. You can find all that information already for most streamers. Maybe not all streamers share that information. I can look at all sorts of analytics for myself or any streamer on this site. I'm not to do anything harmful with that information, but I can see where other people are at in their analytics. That's already existed for a very long time. You shouldn't need this illegal hack to find out, to like believe information that we already knew, which was men, particularly white men, dominate the top 100 streamers list. There's like 2 women, Amaranth, probably Pokimane. There's maybe there's a third one in the top 100. I know the top 76, there's only 2 women. If you open up the top 100, there might be another woman in there.
I think if you open the top 100, I think Alinity might, but
it's close. Either way,
it's 3 out of maybe 100 is still piss poor.
And to say, oh, these hot tub streamers are stealing all our views. Well, Amaranth has certainly benefited from the controversy. She's actually just being a smart businesswoman. Like, Twitch can ban her all they want. It just pumps up her revenue from other sources. And she's making the money which she rightfully deserves, of like taking an opportunity as it presents itself.
Everyone's so mad at the hot tub streamers. Why aren't you mad at the horny bitches who are making them that much money? It's like, you're mad at the wrong people.
And like, I actually got into this brief Twitter fight. I mean, we're talking like 2 or 3 tweets and then it was over. But, back in the spring, there was someone who was a friend at the time tweeted about hot tub streamers and how much he hated them. And someone else got involved in the conversation. And I replied to both of them as, there are more important things in this world than hot tub streamers, my friends. Because at the time, at that exact time, there were like 4 or 5 huge anti-trans bills up for debate in Texas, Arkansas, North Carolina, and a couple of other states. I think even Minnesota had one, but I live in Minnesota, and it would be a hard sell to get a bill like that passed in this state. But we do have conservative enough pockets in Minnesota that would try to pass a bill. But I feel pretty confident that no bill like that would ever pass. So there was like all this anti-trans rhetoric happening and bills were happening. And it's like, hot tub streamers, like, what is this argument? Like, I struggle sometimes with streamer Twitter because sometimes it's like you all are yelling about things that like,
it
if
don't
someone
matter
wants to stream this content and people want to see that and it's legal, like, so be it. I don't have a problem with people choosing content if other people are doing it and it follows within the scope. That's the thing about the hot tub streaming and even the ASMR. Like, I will grant people that the ASMR controversy was like, yeah, these people aren't doing ASMR to do ASMR. This is ASMR to be sexual and weird and like be in yoga pants. When the camera is staring at your yoga pants and you're making licking sounds into an ASMR microphone, yeah, okay, sure. However, I don't think that that's like the worst thing that could possibly happen on this platform. Hate raids, for example. I have gotten, as a trans woman on this platform, so many of the most grotesque and terrible messages in my chat while I'm live that thankfully my auto mod catches it so that my audience doesn't have to see it, but I've had to sit there and smile and have a good time after reading some grotesque stuff aimed at me. So like, that to me is much more what we should be looking at than, hot tub streamers and content that isn't harming anyone.
Yeah. And just, I don't rarely follow streamer Twitter because it's the same arguments just recycled every 3 months. Starting soon screens, emotes in chat, what you're playing, hot tub streamers. It's like, not only is it stuff that doesn't matter at the end of the day to the big scope of the world, it's like, if you're gonna be mad about, pardon my language, stupid shit, At least be mad about different stupid shit than the shit you were mad about 3 months ago.
That's very valid. I've actually been a lot of that discourse that I just like, you know what? I've seen this argument 3 months ago. I'm not even gonna tweet about it this time, even though it's the hot topic that everyone's talking about. I'm just like, I'm not engaging in this.
It's like, shit, I've got people telling me that I'm a bar blank dumbass and I shouldn't exist, and you're too busy arguing about whether it's rude to use your emotes in someone else's chat and whether that's self-promotion.
Right.
And this is the same thing you were arguing about 6 months ago.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I've got friends who have people telling them, and this is my favorite part, like, and what pisses me off about the whole Twitch, think about the children downside of hot tub streamers. I have friends who are literally told they should end their existence and that they don't matter as a person. Yet you're worried about your children seeing a woman in a bikini, a revealing bikini, something they could turn the TV on and they could see. Hell, a lot of the women who are wearing bikinis in hot tub streams, I've seen cartoon characters on television, like Cartoon Network cartoons, have less safe bikinis than some of these hot tub streamers. Yet, why are the hot tub streamers the bad thing?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's another discussion.
I'm seeing Blue Queen say, as a new streamer, the hate raids were terrifying. Like, what if I don't have things set up right and my automod doesn't catch it? Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, because I get so much trolling, you know, I luckily have assembled a mod team that when stuff like that happens, we can shut it down really quick. And I've had some brutal attacks, not just like people coming in saying racist or homophobic or transphobic stuff. I've had people like attacking my Discord, blowing up my phone with hacked messages on stream, you know, so all this types of stuff. And if you were new, like I was in a stream with a trans woman. I don't even remember how I found her stream, but she was new, she was trans, and people were just coming in one after another, trolling her in different ways. And because she was so new, she didn't recognize the trolling as it was happening until, like, you know, the moment hit. It's like, this person, yep. Like for me, for a lot of my trolling for being a trans woman, like I get this, it's almost like a script of like, hey there, oh my God, you're gorgeous. Wait a minute, you're a dude. Oh my God, gross. Blah blah blah. Like I've gotten that hundreds of times in my streaming career, and I've had mods who like can just sense it that like if someone comes in, it's like, hey, you're gorgeous. They're probably out of my stream because we know where it's heading. You know, sometimes
Get banned at hello.
We'll let the troll come out and like we'll play with the troll a little bit. But this person who had never had that before, I was like, please give me a sword right now. I know you don't know me and I don't know you, but please, you don't have any moderators in here right now. Let me mod for you right now. Because she was starting to get like I don't know, the Troll Central must have found her somehow because they were starting to come in higher and higher ratios. So I literally just got a mod sword and started yeeting people out of there as quickly as I could. And you know, a lot of new streamers, a lot of that stuff is terrifying. And what those trolls want is for you to panic and get in that state of not knowing what to do and maybe having to end stream because you're just like so overwhelmed by it. I've learned, like, I have enough tools in my toolbox to like get through that and be like, all right, well, we're going to keep on going now. Sorry for the inconvenience, but yeah, it's hard when you're new and stuff and you're getting a raid like that and you don't know how to turn off all of your alerts within seconds, or you don't know how to change into follower only mode or subscriber only mode fast enough. Like all those things are just things that like, until you need to learn how to do them, you probably won't. So yeah, it's I definitely see how it can be terrifying at first.
And especially like when you only have like one mod, because like I am her only mod. It's like one of those things where it's like I'm a little worried like if she were to get one, if I wouldn't be able to catch it fast enough, because like, you know, being humans.
Yeah, and you know, that's what some of these bots are. My whether it's that Siri bot or what I have, this Maiden bot, which there's only a handful of people using Maiden bot, which is kind of nice, but also has its own challenges. You know, it can detect when users are following who seem to be trolls, and it will yeet them as fast as they're trying to follow. My my community did see once I got a hate raid while I had Maidenbot on, and like there were like three messages that popped up that were hateful, and they were all gone, and all of those accounts that came in at once were gone within not even 2 seconds. Once the bot detected, yep, this is what it is. If I had had my chat on a short delay, so that like if you post something, it takes 2 to 3 seconds, my community wouldn't have even seen anything at all because it would have blocked it before it even posted. So, yeah, I mean, there's tools out there, and you just need to like find them. And SiriBot seems to be like the go-to at this point in that conversation. So, I push a lot of people towards that. And then because Maidenbot is still like kind of in beta, I'm like one of the first people testing it. Like once in a while, I'm like, hey, come over here. We need a newbie. We need a newbie for Maidenbot. But that's kind of a slow process because it's like one person, and she's got a lot. She's a content creator herself. She works a full-time job. She's got all these things going on. So she's like only works on it as she can. She was actually developing Maidenbot like a year beforehand, just for a protection bot for trans women in general. That was the original impetus. So she just happened to have this bot kind of half ready to go when all this hate raid stuff started a few months ago.
I love how just one really good question just spiraled into just another topic completely. I just love that. It's great. Does anyone else have any other questions for Erica while they type it out? So you mentioned you were a professionally trained clown.
Yeah.
I will admit I didn't know that was actually a thing. That is really cool.
Yeah, it's so there's a school in Northern California. I'm not gonna name the school, just I don't want people to like start doing some research and maybe finding me. But there's a school in Northern California. It's actually, we jokingly and lovingly refer to it as clown school, but it's actually just a physical theater school where, you know, we learn acrobatics and we learn circus tricks type stuff, and we learn mask work and all these like older forms of theater. And the climax of the school at the very end, you learn clowning. It's a 5-week thing, and it is notorious for how difficult the program is. I started getting a divorce during the clown training section. So during the hardest part of the school year, I was going through a divorce. It was a very difficult, wild experience. One of the low points of my life, truly and honestly. It was so brutal because the school is attacking you physically and mentally and even emotionally, because they're like, by the time you get to clown, they're picking at like your greatest insecurities and really just like really pushing you hard into this very specific space. Essentially, the head clown teacher, for 5 weeks, every week he gets more difficult and more, it becomes more difficult to make him laugh and be entertained by what you're doing. Basically, every week he gets more and more difficult, so that by the end of the 5 weeks, you don't know what's funny anymore. You don't even know what's funny about yourself anymore. You have no idea anything about anything, so that when you enter the stage as clown, suddenly, when the audience, you're not trying to do anything because you're no longer trying to be funny because you don't know what's funny anymore. You're just here, and you don't know what to do anymore. And so you try something, and people start laughing, and you're like, what? And then they laugh again because of your reaction. You're like, what are you doing? This isn't funny. I'd be yelled at right now by my clown teacher if he saw me doing this. And they laugh some more. I'm like, stop. This is not funny. And it spirals, and this thing is like, he taught you through this extremely grueling process how to be incredibly present with the audience and not expect anything and not try to be funny, but simply exist in front of them. And by simply existing in front of them, you'll make them laugh, you'll make them cry, you'll make them understand what it means. He had this quote, and it's, for me, the pinnacle of what that school teaches you. Fill the stage with so much life that the audience will be so moved by it that they literally will tear down the walls of the theater space and run into the streets screaming, I've seen these clowns. I know what it means to be alive right now. And that's the goal. That's the goal of the type of theater that I've been trying to make ever since that school.
Your reaction when you're like, I didn't think they'd laugh. It reminds me of that one anime meme where it's like the guy with the butterfly and he's like, is this comedy? And it's just... Right. I don't know why that dumb thought just popped in my head when you're like, why are you laughing? I'd be getting yelled at right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because after the 5 weeks of training, then you have to make a clown show that the audience That's the way the school works. It's always like we on our performance weeks, we come in on Monday, opening a show on Thursday that we don't know what that show is yet. So from Monday through Thursday, we are creating the show that doesn't exist yet and opening it for a paying audience by Thursday night, which is a grueling process, but it's a very valuable teacher to make art like that so quickly and intensely. But as we come into Monday for our clown show week, and we sit down and he walks in, and he's got like a list of ideas. He's taken like our old bits that we shared in classroom work, and he's got like a sketch of the show, but there's a lot to be created still. And he's like, I know for the last 5 weeks, I haven't found very much of what you've done to be funny. But from this point on, I find everything you do to be funny, and I'm only here to help you make it better. And it was like a dramatic change in the way he treated us, where before he was very like ridiculing and like poking you right where it hurts the most. And then that final week, he's just trying to make you as hilarious and beautiful as possible. I was in some skits that were just like wildly hilarious, and some skits that were just so beautiful that you like just cry at how beautiful and ridiculous this scene is. And then like, yeah, that's like the beauty of clown. That's what attracts me to clown, is that you can, when a clown makes you cry, there is no better feeling on the face of the earth, because they've made you laugh. And then you see something vulnerable and beautiful come from them, and you're just like, oh my gosh, oh, my heart hurts so much, but this is so beautiful watching it. So that's what I love about clowning.
So he was like Gordon Ramsay, essentially, just the two different forms of him. At first, it's when he's dealing with adults. He's like, he makes you just not want to exist with his fury. And then at the end, he's like, he's a child. He's like, you can do no wrong. You're doing great, honey.
Yeah, and I've even heard Gordon Ramsay, when the cameras aren't rolling for like Hell's Kitchen or any of these like cooking challenge shows, I've heard he's nothing but a sweetheart to people when he's not like in that place of like pushing you really hard. There's a lot of people like behind the scenes, he's just a complete sweetheart. And that's kind of like this teacher as well, is that like, he said on our graduation day, I know that I've put you through this really grueling process, and believe me when I tell you that the process is just as grueling for me to put you through this. However, the process takes so much out of me that when it's all said and done, all I have left is nothing but love and gratitude for all of you in my heart, for what, for who you are as human beings and stuff. So like, he knows what he's doing. He knows that he is being very difficult. He knows all that, but he at least from his perspective, it's a necessary process to get us to some place that on the other side of it, we're all better people for having gone through it.
Does anyone else have any questions for Miss Erica before we decide to cut her loose and take up no more of her time?
It's been a lovely conversation. Who would have thought that I'd be like talking about clown school so much?
I mean, the best conversations are the ones you never expect, so.
Truth.
Going once on the fear is not furiously typing, so I don't think she has any. Going twice.
I got my one question out.
Okay. Going thrice. Okay. We are sold. So we're gonna go ahead and cut Miss EricaNewGirl loose. Thank you very much for being here. I greatly appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. It's nice to get to know you a little bit better as well.
I'm always worried when I ask someone if they would be okay with it. I'm always worried they're just secretly be like, no, fuck off.
Not at all. I was telling my community before we rated you that like, you're a genuine sweetheart. You support so many people on this platform that it is a wonderful opportunity to like get to give back and like be here and with you and have a conversation and get to know, like I just said, like getting to know you better has been a lovely, lovely thing.
Oh. I don't know how to take nice words. I don't know. I don't know how to receive nice things, okay?
Punch them in the throat.
Just give Shazzy 5 minutes. I'm sure he'll say something trolling.
Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and bid you adieu. Thank you very much again.
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead and eat.